please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this meeting is being live streamed and recorded. If anyone would like to tune into the meeting, the live stream is on Facebook and will be on YouTube as well. All right, so I am going to propose that we actually reorder the agenda for tonight to move up executive session as we have a matter to address. So I would entertain a motion to change the agenda to move up executive session.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? And I say yes, so that's unanimous. So we are going to move up executive session. Let me just get to what I need to read. So we are going to enter executive session per Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, for reason number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation with the NDEA and or UFCW. If an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. In this case, the meeting will return to open session immediately following, as we will need to make a vote coming out of executive session. All right. So we are going to move to the library because we need to keep the live stream going so that Ann doesn't set that up again. So could I get, thank you. Can I get a motion to enter into executive session as per the second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Roll call. Hank? Danielle?
Yes, yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
And I say yes. There we go. We're going to get this right.
So remember, still.
Thank you.
Give everybody a minute to come back in. Okay, everybody settled? Good?
Yeah.
All right, so welcome back. We went into executive session tonight because we have been in negotiations with the UFCW. That is the union that represents our paraprofessionals, our custodians, our cafeteria staff, and our administrative assistant staff. And during that executive session, we reviewed that they had ratified the contract that we have been working on, and we took a vote to ratify it. So I will now entertain a motion to ratify the UFCW contract as presented. And a second?
Second.
All right, so I'll give the motion to Shauna and the second to Danielle, just so we can record that. And then we'll do a roll call vote. So Hank?
Aye.
Danielle?
Aye.
Shauna?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
And I say yes, so that is unanimous. So thanks, everyone. So now we will move back up to the top of the agenda. So what we are going to be working on today is within our policies, we are required to, within 10 days of the town elections, to reorganize the committee and to reappoint various positions. So, for example, you're all aware Margaret was chair and she's left, so now we need to reorganize those various positions from chair, vice chair, secretary, and so forth. So we're going to start with a nomination for the chair. Is there anyone who would like to make a...
Open nominations.
Oh, what?
Open nominations.
I have to open nominations.
Yeah. And you did.
And I did.
Just-
Okay. I would like to open nominations.
Good
Some
job.
of us are new at this.
Nominate Jennifer Smith for chair.
Second.
Okay. So,
Any other
We-
nominations?
any other nominations? Okay, so per state law, we are supposed to do this particular vote by ballot. So
Madam Vice Chair, we have 4 votes for Jen Smith and 1 for Jen Awesome Smith.
And do I
For the
have
record.
We have to go by that now.
as Jen Awesome Smith. So
You're now chair.
I am now chair.
Now we'll
Okay.
move on to vice chair.
Vice chair.
Congratulations.
Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I would like to nominate Danielle for vice chair.
Second.
Okay, it's also a write-in vote. Oh yeah, are there any other nominations?
The giant. I swear I did not write the awesome in
Have to have some fun.
Right.
Congratulations.
Okay. All right, moving right along. So thank you, Danielle. I appreciate you joining me.
I appreciate you for leading.
All right, so continuing with our reorganization of the committee, historically, Dr. Cassavant has kindly served as the secretary of the school committee. So I would entertain a motion to appoint Dr. Chris Cassavant as the secretary of the Narragansett Regional School District School Committee. Should he agree to do that again? Good, excellent.
You have to have awesome in
I'm
his title.
I'm happy to
as well.
serve.
So Danielle has motioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
And Hank has given a second. Okay, roll call vote, or can we just?
No.
No, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? And I'm a yes, so that was unanimous. And now we move on to the Assistant Secretary of the School Committee, which has historically been served by Susan Barney, who we all know does all the work. I did promise I would recognize that in today's meeting. So I would entertain a motion to appoint Susan Barney as the Assistant Secretary of the Narragansett Regional School District School Committee.
So moved.
Motion by Shauna, and a second? Second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? And I say yes, so that is unanimous. Okay, so now we're moving into various district representation. So this is, a list that I asked everyone to take a quick look at before the meeting, because there are a number of appointments. So this position has historically been, Dr. Cassavant has voluntold to serve in this capacity. So, but knowing that we have a bunch of newer members, and I didn't want to take opportunities away from anyone that might have a passion somewhere that I don't personally know exists. So Dr. Cassavant has kindly, said that he can continue to serve in this capacity should we nominate him, but if there is someone who wanted to be the CAPS district representative, I also wanted to open up that opportunity.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Gladly would take on that role, but if someone would want to, and I'd have to talk to the collaborative, but to shadow, for lack of a better word, to see what it involves.
Yep.
Pending me asking the collaborative that, I would, would invite anyone if they want just to see what it's about and kind of, get their feet wet. Anyone can attend the meeting, so it's not like it's a breach of
Okay.
of conduct.
It's open.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions, or, all right. So I would entertain a motion to appoint Dr. Christopher Cassavant as the fiscal year 24 CAPS district representative.
Okay.
So Hank with a motion and second to Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? And I'm a yes, so that was also unanimous. So now we have the Keystone, so similar to the CAPS, really the same discussion, but different collaborative. So again, is there anyone who wanted to serve in that particular capacity at this time? I'm seeing shaking heads. All right. So I'm getting the thumbs up. So I would entertain a motion to appoint Dr. Christopher Cassavant as a fiscal year 24 Keystone Educational Collaborative District Representative.
So moved. Second.
And a second to Shauna. Any questions, discussion?
I just want to make a comment that I know on this, for Keystone, they do request I think it's like a quarterly summary during our open meeting. So I just want to make sure that we can get that into our agendas when quarterly. It's not on the CAPS, but it's on Keystone. I mean, I think it'll be great to hear about CAPS as well. So,
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Okay. So, any other questions before? All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. I say yes, so that was also unanimous. And thank you, Dr. Cassavant, for continuing to represent the school district in all of those capacities. Okay, so warrants. This is a position that I've been holding for the past year. I'm happy to continue holding that position and signing those warrants. This is a great opportunity if there is someone else on the school committee who wants to get like a really granular look at all the different ways that the school, the district spends money, because that's ultimately what you're signing off on. But again, this is something that is not a trouble for me to fit into my schedule, so I'm happy to continue doing it unless there's someone else who really wants to. So
I know. Oh, go ahead.
I nominate Jen.
And I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. All right.
And what do you vote?
I also say yes. I'm happy to continue doing that, so that was unanimous. Okay, MASC delegate appointment. So essentially, this is an appointment where the delegate agrees to represent our school district at the MASC Delegate Summit. So that's a lot of use of the word delegate, but essentially, MASC comes together to review what they're putting forth as proposed legislation. And the NRSD delegate will go to that meeting. It is always right along with the conference, and it does need to be someone who can attend the conference and then attend as a delegate as well. So that's just something to note, because I know that there are some folks that might have, like I had a conflict schedule last year, and so we had to reassign it to Margaret. And so I'm wondering if anybody is interested in serving in that capacity.
I'll do it. Oh, unless you want it. You can have it.
I would nominate Heather to serve as the MASC delegate.
Second.
All right, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right. That was unanimous. So thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. In addition to the legislative responsibilities, there is also the legislative representative for our Narragansett Regional School District. So if there is someone who is very passionate about legislation, this is a great opportunity for them. You may ask a question, but you should direct it at Hank.
So I know in the past, this was Margaret that had this appointment. I guess, what are the requirements? I guess as a newer member, I wasn't aware that we even had this.
You show up and you're breathing.
Check.
My essential
Yeah.
understanding is that you're keeping track of legislation that
What's
could
on-
impact our school
yep.
district, and you're reporting on it. So you probably didn't think about it because Margaret did an excellent job of just so naturally fitting it in to all of the topics that we talked about. And so you probably just never consciously thought about it, but we did actually vote it in last year.
All the time, yeah.
And then she just continued to fill it in. So, this is something that someone who's really passionate about staying up on state laws and state laws that impact education, it's a great opportunity for them. It's not a specific, it's not like a measurable time commitment, in the sense that it really is about just keeping up to date and making sure that the school committee is aware.
I think a lot of it comes off their website too, so.
That helps.
I don't mind, I do this anyway, so this
All right,
would be
there
a
you
nice
go.
way of.
Perfect. So I'd entertain a motion to appoint Danielle Boucher-Brunel as legislative representative for the fiscal year '24 for the Narragansett Regional School District School Committee.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? And that is unanimous. Thank you, Danielle. Okay, so liaison to NRSD CPAC. So this was actually not something that was on our agenda last year, but it's something that we want to make sure that we're bringing forward and ensuring that there is a school committee representative who's officially, there's been volunteers in the past, but is officially appointed to liaise with CPAC and to bring back details about what are the things that they're working on or discussing so that the school committee can stay aware and connected with the CPAC. Are there any volunteers or anyone who is specifically interested in this position?
I'm happy to do it. I'm very passionate about special education.
Excellent. I would entertain a motion to appoint Shauna as the liaison to the NRSD CPAC.
So moved as the-
So motion by Danielle and second by Hank. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, and I say yes. Thank you, Shauna. Okay, we also need a liaison to the Student Advisory Council. And so is there anyone who's specifically interested in serving in that capacity? This is something I'd be happy to work on. It might fit well with some of the other things I'm doing, but if someone else is interested, I'm certainly not going to fight them for it.
Can I just ask, is this a role that you've had in the past as well?
So this is similar to the CPAC role in the sense that there has been some volunteerism or things, but we're officially,
official.
we're recognizing it officially going forward. Okay. Nominate Jen.
I second Jen.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, and I say yes. All right. So, subcommittees. So this part is really a discussion. We're not voting on anything in this moment. So what I did want to bring up is Dr. Casavan and I have had a couple discussions, and this has been brought up by a few different school committee members ad hoc, that there's some general feelings that there's some overlap between the different subcommittee meetings, and just it's a nice time to just take a look and see what does the school district need in this moment and how to move forward. So what I'd like to propose, but I'd also like to hear from other folks, is that Dr. Casavan and I will take a look at that. We'll come back with some thoughts as to what we think the school district needs, and then get your thoughts and input as well. So I welcome anyone to share what their thoughts are on subcommittees, and to share that either now in this setting or via email on the in-between, or through a meeting with Dr. Casavan directly.
Well, you said you're gonna meet with him, so come back with some proposals.
Yes.
Then we can discuss.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Great.
that's a good idea.
Yep. So, wonderful. So Dr. Cassidy and I will see what we can put together, and then see what everybody's input is, and we'll see what changes that creates. And I did make a note that once we're through this piece, I'm looking at you because you're on the policy subcommittee at the moment. The subcommittees listed on the policy are actually different from what's listed on the website. So that's something, once we get through this piece, we can bring them together. Okay. So the proposed fiscal year 24 school committee meeting calendar, this is just an initial list. Right now, this follows pretty much the cadence that we've been meeting. One thing that I did want to open up is, back in COVID time, the school committee started moved from meeting one time a month as the typical to meeting twice a month. And there's been some feeling that with some of our shorter meetings lately, that we probably could go back to once a month for most months, and do the twice a month for those months where there's a particularly heavy agenda, say budget season, for example. And so I wanted to see if everyone would feel good about that, at which point we can go through this and update the schedule accordingly, with where we think we're going to need 2 school committee meetings versus where we feel we only need 1. But I did want to double check with everybody, because first of all, do Wednesdays at 5:30 still work? And secondly, is everyone okay? Because going to 1 meeting a month could mean that we have 1 slightly longer meeting, but the benefit is that we're not meeting twice. So would welcome any input from any folks if they have some.
I think that sounds good. I mean, because I look at a few of the dates, like I know the one closer to Christmas, for example, like we
Sure.
changed that this past year, so. And then also, just noting that the preliminary budget hearing happens to fall on Valentine's Day, and we don't want to give people a reason not to come if they wanted to. So I don't know if, bumping that up a week, now that we have the same governor as this year, there won't be waiting for all those numbers. So, be a change in that date too. So just to, for our board or our committee, but also for people that want to listen to our meetings as well, just some different dates to know.
Yeah, certainly, and and the good news is we can also revise these as they come a bit closer and we get a clearer understanding of how the year shakes out. So it's out there so that everybody knows what to expect, but it's also not set in stone. For example, although the July meeting is on here, we'll talk again in June. Typically, there is no July meeting because there just isn't enough business to necessitate that we meet. We keep it on there just in case there's something that comes up, though we don't anticipate anything. So, for example, at the next meeting, we'll talk about, do we need that July meeting?
Can I just ask, typically when do budget numbers come out when you have a governor that's already in office?
End of January.
Oh, okay.
January. The preliminary numbers, it can vary, they flux, but at the end of January, generally, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So what I would say is, as long as, I did want to double check that June 14th date still works with it for everybody. Excellent. Okay, so that will be our next meeting, and Susan will will hold these, and I'll take a look through with you and see what changes we want to make and update that for next time. Okay, so we're moving on to the treasurer appointment. So I would entertain a motion to approve Victoria Chartier as district treasurer for fiscal year 24, subject to successful contract negotiations, which will be carried out by the superintendent.
Second.
Who had the first?
Danielle.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Oh, wait, this one's a roll?
Yes.
All righty, sorry. Hank?
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Yes. And I say yes. So that's unanimous. And I'm assuming this next one is a roll call as well? All right. I would entertain a motion to appoint Chelsea Mason as the assistant treasurer for fiscal year 24.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and we'll do this as roll call. Hank?
Abstain.
Danielle?
Aye.
Shauna?
Yes.
Heather?
Aye.
And I say yes. So one abstain and the rest yes. Okay. So that concludes all of those appointments. So thank you for bearing with us, and also being open to some new discussions. So moving on to approval of meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of April 26, 2023 as written.
So moved.
Thank you, Heather. And second?
Second.
Hank? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? And I say yes, so it's unanimous. And moving on to the minutes of May 3rd, 2023, I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of May 3rd, 2023 as written.
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Heather. Any questions, discussion about those minutes?
Good job.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, yeah. Thinking about it. Sorry.
We appreciate that you dream
Yes,
about us.
yes.
Always on my mind.
Susan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? And I say yes, so that's unanimous. So bills and payroll, those were reviewed. I did get those warrants signed. So I would entertain a motion to accept the bills and payroll warrants as presented. Thank you, Heather. Shauna? Any questions, discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? say yes, so that's unanimous as well. We are finally student representative section. I don't think you've ever had to wait that long. So thank you for your patience. We are very excited to hear about what's been going on in the school district. There's been a lot of fun events recently.
So all the classes have slowed down, the college classes have ended, the AP classes are done, it's just crazy, we're already turning in our books and everything. Just a little recap, obviously, this last weekend, venue, the food, the decorations are all just gorgeous, and it was nice taking pictures on the common from the last time. Upcoming events is the concert, the spring concert, on May 18th at 7:30 in the school auditorium. And of course, senior week and graduation. So there's some big events that are definitely coming. Well, as a senior, this is my last school committee meeting. I think it's surreal how fast this whole year went. The fact that I'm going to wake up in the morning for high school for a few more days, that's it. It's pretty crazy. It's taken me until 4 days left of school to for it to hit me. Like I've completely been like, just go, go, go. And I'm like, oh, I have 4 days left. It's hitting me now. Like I'm kind of getting the senioritis now, and it's like 3 days left, 4 days left. But
It's a good time to get it.
Yeah.
true. That's very true. But yeah, I can't wait for graduation and all the activities that are coming up. That's it for me.
Well, I just want to say thank you. This has been a great opportunity. We've learned a lot from you. It's been awesome to have you share your experiences with your courses, especially with the early college course, which is fairly new. And so congratulations on everything. Celebrate, and we're very excited for you. We hope someday we'll get an update on how
Yes.
things go
Yeah.
as you move on to what's next.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Of course.
Zoe has absolutely set a very high bar.
Yes.
And that shouldn't dissuade our next student representative, whoever that person may be, because a high bar is, in other words, of course, saying an excellent example. You've carried yourself exceptionally well. Just your poise and just how prepared you are, your comments, it's striking how well that you've done here, honestly, at this. And we're going to be reading about you. I will be working for you, I'm sure, at some point, quite frankly. So, but I just want to make sure that I said that because it's important for those who may be watching. It shouldn't be intimidating that you're a high bar to hit. It should be something to be strive for. So I want to thank you for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And if I can piggyback on what Dr. C. Madam Chair has said, I'm an educational teacher as well, so I get to meet all kinds of kids and interact with all kinds of kids, but I have to say that the maturity that you have and the way you articulate yourself at these meetings just surpasses what I would say an average student at your age.
Oh, absolutely.
does.
Absolutely.
And you never miss a meeting, no matter what is going on. It's like you're just so committed to being here and being a part of everything. And yeah, you're amazing. And I'm sure you hear that a lot, but it's true.
But you know what? You can never hear that enough. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you. Officially, thank you. Okay, on to public input. I don't see anyone here tonight. So we will move on to NDEA, for which I will look forward to the next time they're able to join us. So we're moving on to budget. So Dr. Cassavant, I will let you talk to us about FY23 and FY24.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will say to you that it is never that Ms. Geisler would allow me to speak on her behalf. And I just feel the heat of the eyes on the back of my neck, right now, as a matter of fact. But currently, I know we say this a lot about FY23, that we're hanging in there, because it really is about that. And granted, we have about, 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever, until July 1. We're still continuing that. We are very watching every penny. And so, yeah, we're going to do it. She would never say that, but of course we're going to do that. We're going to make it, no problem. But, you know, it was a lot of hard work, and because she's not here, I will say to you that it really, 100% of that very fact is because of Anne Marie Geister. I've said it. She is easily one of the best business managers within, pick a circle, 50, 25, she's outstanding. This type of work is very, very hard, and she does it very, very well. FY24 budget status, I think that the best news that I can possibly tell you is that both towns, both Phillipston and Templeton, I believe it was unanimous, but regardless, voted in the affirmative for our budget, supported that. I want to thank both towns, quite honestly, for that. It's a heavy weight. It's a lot of money. It's more money than either town has paid in a very long, even probably with overrides in the past. I can't imagine that the numbers were this high then. It is the cost of business. We are growing. Templeton is growing. Phillipston is growing. Kids are moving in. They're coming to school here. They're staying here. They're going to school here. That sort of thing. So, with all that said, I really do. I want to thank the support of the towns, the select boards who voted to support the budget, and their individual finance committees also voting to support the budget. But we had more teachers and teaching educational staff at the meetings than I have seen in a very long time. To be candid, we asked them to show up. We implored them to show up. Parents showed up. It didn't come down to some type of crucial vote because it was unanimous. But I want to thank the NDEA. I want to thank the UFCW. I want to thank the school committee. And everyone else who really put the word out about how important it is to show up for meetings. It didn't get contentious. It wasn't a battle, but democracy works for those who show up, and that'll forever ring. As long as I'm here, I'm going to say it a lot, and lots of people showed up. It's relative, right? So how can you say 20 people is a lot? Well, it's a lot for us, and I was happy to see them, quite frankly, in both towns. And so, again, FY24 budget in terms of the towns has been settled. Now we just wait for Chapter 70. We wait for the state to go through its process, and so that way we'll have a final number. But quite frankly, the hard part is done, Madam Chair. So I want to just leave on a positive note.
It is a positive note. Yes, and I definitely echo that. Thanks to everyone who came and voted. The legislature took time out of everybody's night, and I know in a commuter town that time's tough.
Yeah.
For everybody to get there with everything going on. So thanks. Business manager's report. Did you want to share? Did you want to stand in for Anne Marie again?
I will say to you, Madam Chair,
wait?
she's probably watching via, and she's like, "Don't you touch my report." I would respectfully ask
We
gracefully
certainly
to postpone and to pass over her reports, given that I fear her. So if that would be appropriate, Madam Chair, I'd like to move.
That I will support that request. Yes. We will move on to the superintendent self-evaluation. So this will complete or close out the FY21 to FY23 cycle. And so I'll let you talk a little bit about what you put together for us. And as per usual, it's very thorough. We have a lot of reading to do.
So I'm sorry, because we went into executive session, we didn't turn on all the TVs and such, but in any event, I just want to make sure I frame this, properly in that, to no fault of anyone, and it was all because of COVID, I can tell you that, is that we fell out of sync a little bit with the evaluation. So last year, about this time, there was a ratings, and there was, so really what that does is that signals, right, the end, right, and to start a new process, right? So I was rated, ultimately. That should have closed that chapter, and a new chapter through new goals, et cetera, would have started. Again, given that we could not meet in person for so long, our school improvement plan, our district improvement plan was not complete at the time, and quite frankly, we did not have the opportunity to fulfill I would say to fulfill or to meet the goals and objectives of that plan. So what we decided to do, just as a recap, is we got through the district improvement plan, as we know, and that's set for the next X amount of, years. We have new goals, we have all of those to be considered, but there was the business of finishing this. And so, given that, and we, I think it was 3 meetings ago, maybe 4, there's now a schedule of how my evaluation will look, and now we're back on track. Okay, so there's the run-up to this. Ultimately, what we've done, and probably only one person on this committee, well, currently here tonight, maybe 2.
I did.
Yeah.
Right when I started.
Yes. We did a color code, kind of method in terms of, to make sure that folks knew exactly what I was presenting according to this 3-year plan. So pink is representative of what we, the district, completed this year in terms of those old goals, quote unquote, and to close this out. So with that, we left all the information in that was there prior. And so everything in pink is what we worked on this school year. So quite frankly, we have all new goals and objectives at this point, but we were able to, and I was happy to, it was really kind of satisfying to kind of finish and really kind of end on a good note. We were able to, to complete some tasks that we were not able to do. And so it's hard for me to know what people would like to know, and I just don't want to simply go through it and everybody's like, yeah, we can read, Chris. But in terms of the summaries, it was really just closure of, really the paragraph before it was really kind of like, hey, this is what we've really done over the past couple of years. The pink represents what we accomplished this year. And looking back, we've accomplished, and it's always a we. I get rated, but it's my goals and objectives. They are literally on the backs of everyone that works for this district, everyone. And I could not be honestly prouder or happier to say that, because the work that this team, everyone has put in is unreal in terms of just sheer output of stuff. If I was just to say that, again, the communication was always and probably will always be part of a superintendent's goals or my goals, to improve and figure out different ways. We were able to do a lot of different things this year. Now the grant helped out, right? The COPS grant. The website was always the website has always been a point of contention, or at least a point or a focus. And we were able to, thanks to the COP grant, which I know we've talked ad nauseum about, but that was a big step, quite frankly, in terms of how we now communicate, in terms of how we push information out with an app, and how Apogee, that whole part of it we've been able to really just synthesize all this information. People have it literally at their fingertips. It's easier to read, it's easier to find, it's actually more enjoyable to look at. And of course, our notification system in general has improved because of that. So we've done that. Of course, we've done our very first, thank you, podcast. We did that. So in terms of we've really hit a lot of that on communication and community engagement. I think that the survey that we put out at the beginning of the year was crucial, because where do you go? What do you do? Like, what exactly you're going to do to improve? And we received, what, was it 400, I believe, it was somewhere around 400 some odd comments about, look, this is what you're doing right, but we received about what we could do better. And quite frankly, we hit, or at least have like started, or have initiated, or have worked on the things that folks said, look, we could use more of this, whatever it may have been, right? So, early literacy came well into focus. That's in pink, obviously, and we talked about the PD focus, the establishing after-school literacy tutors and such, and that really was born from our status. So we have, we're at the elementary level, we had been identified as needing improvement. But what we're noticing and what we know because of COVID is that we need it across the board. And so, we're working towards that. I won't read the blurb that I put at the very bottom. I'm sure that you reviewed that. Our SIPs and DIPs have been updated. I've been here, I'll be going on 8 years next year. So next July 1st will be my 8th July 1st. I never would have thought I'd made it this long.
Time flies.
Time flies. That's a little blurb right there, SIP, DIP, everything, so what, you do it every year. Well, that wasn't always the case. These didn't exist. They weren't, they just weren't part of the fabric of what we do. And so now it's very common, for us to talk about the SIPs and the DIPs. And so it was kind of interesting to kind of look back. Oh, wow, we did our first SIP and DIP. Well, now we've done 7 of them, whatever the case is, right? Communication we talked about. What's that? Oh, I thought something, sorry. Okay. The equity committee, we finally got that off the ground. That's a great example of something that COVID absolutely played havoc with, because we couldn't meet, and we just couldn't get it. And thanks to Molly, who has headed that committee, has done some wonderful things. And I want to also mention, I don't think I put it here, but the wellness committee, that is, in terms of our tasting days, has been unbelievably well received by kids. I had kiwi. Like, what? You never had kiwi before? Nope. Or whatever the fruit of the month was the other day. Honey, yeah, but no, it was the kiwi. They talked about kiwi. I don't think it was one of the things that we offered. They said it was kiwi. I know that it was honeydew. And I said, well, okay, but you might actually like kiwi too. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, listen, it was close. It was a fruit. So, those are big, big things. Our After Dark partnership grant with, Monty Tech. Who'd ever thought that we'd partner with Monty Tech? We didn't have a very good relationship. Let me be clear. I did not have a good relationship with Monty Tech. I'm very open about that, and it sat right at the top, quite frankly. And I will tell you that Superintendent Brown has done a great job opening up lines of communication with my friends from Gardner and Fitchburg. We feel really good about this partnership, about maybe, again, got to say maybe because there's a lot of moving parts to this grant, about having our kids stay our kids and be able to go to Monty Tech to learn a trade, for half the day, and our juniors and seniors, and that won't be until 24, 25. And so that's a big deal. That's a big step for us, because at times it hasn't been a great relationship, and we've done a lot of talking with them, and that has really been advantageous for all of us. And I think that is a big step. Again, that's not because it's me. It really bore itself from really having conversations with other superintendents and having this great opportunity. We'll see how it goes, though, because it needs to benefit the district, and we're not sure what that's going to look like. Cultural, our capital improvement plan, Hank and others sit on this board. I think, Hank, you've been on the facilities subcommittee for a long time. We've never really had kind of a focus. It's really been about patch and go. Like, oh, something broke, fix it. It's been hard to have a plan. And now what do we have is we have a plan, one, that's key. Two, we've met with both towns to let them know what our plan is and where we're going. At least Templeton is, and we're hopeful to engage Phillipston as well, to have what we called back before COVID, the chairs meeting, in which we meet and we talk about things, just talk about what we need to do. There is a definite want or need, I guess, to have I'm trying to think of the right term. Was it financial plan? No, sorry, Madam Chair. It wasn't long-term.
No, it was the growth plan.
It was a growth plan.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. And, okay, we have a growth plan. We have several, it looks very different in schools. How we do growth, we very individualized, but I guess let's talk, because that is important, because we're growing, and we're going to need to do some things on the physical structure. One of the things that we didn't put here is the grant that we received from Representative Zlotnick, the $50,000 that's going to, help us with our HVAC, kind of continue to improve our HVAC in order to help the building. So that's part of the process, et cetera. So that's a big thing. And I will say that if I was to sum this up, although this was kind of the last goals and objectives, we have formalized, I never want to say all, because you never know, right? But we have formalized all of the major, areas, and it is now, really great to be able to look back and see an actual document, a plan, and be able to then start seeing these things actually come off, or we realize that we've done something that was on the plan. These goals and objectives that we've set, it's actually been, I can't begin to tell you just how satisfying it is to say that people wanted different, STEM. I'm trying to think of Project Lead the Way. Well, we've been recognized 4 times this year in different ways around STEM, right? For example, and that was you need to do this. Well, we did do it. Early college, all of these things, we're actually starting to see them. Now, it's taken 7 years to get a lot of this stuff realized, and some things we haven't. We're still a long way away from, we have other things that we need to do, and we need to concentrate on, and need to put more attention and figure out ways. I'm going to talk about the arts. We need to find a better way. I don't know how to do it. I don't know, but people have approached me about the arts. I don't know. That's going to take money. I'm very candid. It's going to take resources. What do we do? How do we restructure? Do we restructure? How do we do this? How do we do that? I don't know. But people have come to me and said, look, what are you going to do about this? Well, I guess we're going to have to do something, but we'll figure out what that means. Another area is athletic fields, and I should say facilities. It does fall under facilities. It does, right? Because it's grounds. But we need to have a plan. And we've got some ideas what we need to do. We're going to have to do things in small steps, because our fields they're not equipped to handle the amount of kids and or the activities and games and practices that need to be on these limited fields. So what are we going to do about that? That's probably our next foray into, as well as keeping all of these balls in the air as well. And of course, TES becomes front and center. The state has said that they're going to hold basically everybody held harmless. They didn't really press any district, as far as I know. I'm looking to Molly to make sure I'm saying this correctly, about their status. But if we don't climb out of that status, we can absolutely expect to have the state pay us a visit, or if nothing else, a phone, or a conversation. So we've prepared this year to make sure that doesn't happen. We'll see. So, Madam Chair, I think that in the end, there it is. It's really the summary of the ratings were already done. So from last year, based on this, so it's kind of quirky, but there it is.
So, yes. So in June, we'll complete the summative evaluation cycle. That's according to the schedule that's coming up.
If you, I didn't have it because I was looking at my.
It's okay, I have it up and I'm
Okay,
reading from it.
okay, thank you. So I want to make sure I'm like, I don't know, without me guessing this. Yes, it would be the June summative. I'd have to pull that up, but yes, that's what
Yeah.
it says. I don't
So-
have it in front of me. I'm going to absolutely
Yeah,
defer.
so,
Yeah.
so it says the school committee will complete Dr. Casavan's summative evaluation, which will focus on the performance progress of his established schools. Like you said, I know we did some ratings last year, so we'll have to figure out
Yeah.
how to take what was done last year, how to incorporate all the pieces that were just added to this, because I do want to make sure that those are recognized and seen. So I'll figure out a way to bring those two, just, pieces together. They're connected, but bring them together, so that they're part of one summative piece. And I know that there's an official document that in the end gets filled out as well, so, okay. All right, school committee comments. Is there anything that anyone wanted to bring up at the moment? Okay. One thing that I did want to start asking in this particular section is whether or not there's anything that anyone would like to see on the next agenda or on a future agenda. So for example, Shawnee, you were talking about the Keystone updates and, so that would be a great example of here's something I'd like to hear about. So, no pressure to answer me in this moment. But one of the things I do is work on the agenda for the upcoming meetings. And so I would love to make sure that I'm getting input from all of you as to things that you might want to hear about. And so whether we handle that in the next meeting or in a future one, depending on what sort of input we need from people across the district. So I just setting an expectation that I'll be asking for that. So think about what you might like to hear about. Okay, surplus items. It looks like we've got some fun stuff in here this week. So according to my notes, we have some high jump mats, a 3-piece set. They are roughly 2 feet thick by 12 feet long and 10 feet deep. They're 12 years old, very weathered, and have not had a cover on them in several years. So I would entertain a motion to surplus this one 3-piece set of high jump mats as presented. So moved. I'll give the motion to Heather in a second.
I'll second.
And second by Danielle. Any discussion on the mats? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? And I say yes. So that was unanimous. Okay, and we do not have anything unanticipated, I don't think. All right, excellent. So we will move on to your superintendent report.
I'll be quick, Madam Chair. Thank you. So, first off, I'm going to steal someone's thunder, but I went to the prom, and it was wonderful. And Miss Lyons is here, and she's awesome, and they did a great job. And it was, again, I love just watching, the kids, because they're still kids to me, have fun. And it was just it's just every year, it's just so much fun. And there's a lot of staff who go, they don't have to, right? They go, and it was just a lot of fun. It was, again, Ann did a wonderful job putting it all together and just organizing it, and they're so well behaved. I'm very proud when I leave. So when I leave the prom, I worry about all things. I worry about things all day and all night, right? So prom has, a history of thought when it comes to proms and tragedies, et cetera. And we had a great opportunity that our law enforcement put on the week earlier, which we discussed the last meeting. So I'm always worried about these things, but I leave the prom at around 9:30, and I'm feeling great because they're just such great kids. And I can say that, and I think I've said it every year. Oh, yeah. I am always, and it just gets, I think people just think I say it because I will not say anything I don't mean, never. And I am just proud of these kids, no matter where they are, no matter where they are. And they just do such great things. The senior class has been wonderful, and they have been leaders. But at the prom, you know, we expect some hijinks. You expect something, right? No. And just what a great time. So I'm glad, I'm hopeful, and it's going to be a great week celebrating the seniors as we move forward, and of course graduation, all of those type of things. So it's been really great. The school choice and enrollment update, we voted, actually there was a correction last meeting from the time before. Susan, thanks to Susan, put together, you know, just to kind of give you an idea, and I'm just looking just very quickly, but, you know, I think the 7th grade, Susan, would be the only, yeah. I'm just trying to think of, there'll only be one group that will have to do probably a, I believe it's the 7th grade. 1, 2, 3, no. There's only gonna be one grade that we're gonna have to do right now, anything with laundry. Let's just put it that way. And good, you know, then that's fine, and we'll do that probably, the end of the last week of school.
8th grade is
Yeah, thank you. The rising 8th grade. The rising 8th grade. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. They're 7th grade now. So it's the rising 8th grade. So, which is great. And so we have that all set up, ready to go. I'll let you, that'll just happen, quite frankly. And we always have people there to do the lottery, so it's always on the up and up, and make sure that, I think we actually videotaped it one year, honestly. Yeah, we did, just so that people cannot, so everyone knows that we do it the right way.
Well, if you need to pick them out this year, I'd vote that you pick them out of the crown, I don't know.
We'll do something. It'll be epic, either
All
way.
right, excellent.
The other piece is that usually I give my enrollment update. We literally, which is very common, we stayed exactly at 1 point. So we didn't move, and didn't go up, we didn't go down any students. Month over month, April to May, being it's May, you know, it's 1487, it's still 1487, we haven't had anybody move. And so, other than that, Madam Chair, I believe that's the only information that I have to share.
Anything for curriculum and instruction tonight? Not tonight, excellent. So, subcommittee reports, academic, no,
Nothing's last week.
so administrative won't meet until next month. Facilities, any updates from facilities?
Kind of touched on it, tonight,
Okay.
the fields, HVAC,
Yeah.
some of the stuff we projected down the road.
Okay, great, and I'm sorry, I skipped, finance and budget, any updates from finance?
We did not meet this week.
You did not, okay. And policy?
We met with Mariah to talk about the concussion policy, and
Okay.
we made some progress towards revising the concussion policy to be a little bit more inclusive of all the people who might fall under, who's responsible for making sure the policy is followed out. And we sort of are going to continue the discussion with Mariah and make sure that we have something for next year.
And long-term planning?
I was just looking, we actually have a meeting on the books next week.
Okay, great. All
There's
right.
actually a question I did have was administrative, I think it's in 2 weeks. Are we gonna follow the same subcommittee for the remainder of the school year? I know earlier in our meeting we talked about revising.
So there's no changes to subcommittees until we vote as a committee to
Okay.
make a change. So until we vote to make a change, everything's staying the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Do we need to look at filling any of Margaret's
So, we could, I mean, so one thing I didn't forget to, celebrate is we do have an additional school committee member starting. Sean, he was unable to make it here tonight, he was unable to be sworn in on time, so he will be here for the next meeting. Since he is a new member and, you know, we're getting towards the end of the school year, probably it makes sense to sort of close out business for this school year and then look to make sure everything is filled for the next school year.
Right, especially if we're thinking about changing how some
Exactly,
committees are.
exactly. So, and realistically, nobody meets past June anyways. Usually there's, you know, a couple wrap-up things, but that's about it. I don't think, I think they would be better served to, let's take the next school committee, maybe the next two, to figure out what we want those subcommittees to look like as a group, and then we can figure out those appointments towards the beginning of the school year, which I am now very, very thankful at how thorough Margaret always was in her agendas, because I am referencing them with great frequency to make sure that we're hitting on the yearly business, and that, you know, what was the rough timeline in which we got things settled, et cetera. So, thanks to her, if she's watching, though, I hope that she is off enjoying the beautiful weather.
I'm thinking she might not be.
I'm thinking she might not. All right, so correspondence, I don't think there's anything.
There is no correspondence, but I wanted to make sure that folks know that we're starting our annual posting of the seniors on Facebook.
I saw it.
I
I'd like to
So
see
see
it.
we are
That I
starting
saw.
that, and so I think it's by 10, every 10?
10 every.
Every 10. Just want to make sure I got, so there'll be a new 10 tomorrow, and then,
Except for the weekends.
and right, except for the weekends. And then we'll start hopefully with another class, another graduating class. Well, perhaps I'm going to be coy about that, so you'll have to keep your eye on to Facebook to see what am I teasing? Yes, yes. So teasing.
Well, we will look forward to the upcoming.
It's always something to look forward to.
Yeah. Upcoming Facebook shenanigans.
Always.
All right. So as we had already discussed, our next meeting will be Wednesday, June 14th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. And we have already done our executive session for the evening. And so I would entertain a motion to adjourn. And a second. And roll call on this one, right? All in favor?
That just hurt. All right.
I thought I was gonna get one right. Thank you, everyone. We should have just said yes.